Did Michigan State football get better on the offensive side of the ball so far this portal season? And also, what were the best and the worst plays of 2024 at Michigan State? Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans. It's your team in green and white 5 days a week right here at the Locked On Podcast Network. Please rate, review, subscribe, comment below your favorite play of the 2024 calendar year. It could be basketball, it could be football, it could be hockey, it could be a really nice gymnastics vault that you remember fondly. Hey, just, you know what, we're celebrating the season. Go ahead, comment that below. We're going to get to that in segment 2. Segment 3, we will get to the Michigan State Western Michigan basketball game. And the first segment, well, that's right. We're going to go ahead, kick it off with some football because I've been thinking about Michigan State as I do. What else would you think about during the holiday season? What, time with your family and friends, perhaps children? Absolutely not. Come on, don't be ridiculous. No, I've been thinking Michigan State, I think overall has gotten better this offseason. We just actually talked about it not too long ago. Yesterday's show, to be precise. You saw 14 players leave this program. I think 2, arguably 3, were of consequence. Not to be the biggest jerk in the world to the other 11 or 12, but not a lot of big-name players left. You brought in some solid additions, too, and you also retained, well, your Nick Marshes, Stan Ramel, Aiden Childs, Jordan Hall. That was the thesis of yesterday's show if you missed it. But specifically on one end of the ball, has the offense gotten better position group by position group? We'll be really quick with quarterback. Okay, Aiden Childs coming back? Sure. Another year of growth? Yeah, why not? Tight end? Didn't lose any one of consequence. Largely, it's going to be the same room next year. Hopefully, Michael Masunis is healthier than 4 games. Sure, think that'll be a better room just on experience alone. But let's talk about the other 3 position groups: receiver, running back, offensive line. And let's kick it off with the one that I think did improve this offseason just with a few portal moves, and that is the wide receiver position, because I do think that they have gotten better. And I know this is ridiculous. Let me look at the calendar up there in the corner of my screen. 9 months away from the season still. We got another spring portal cycle to go through. There's a lot of unknowns still. But right now, I think Michigan State did get better so far this offseason at the receiver position. Because who you lost? Yeah, Montori Foster, fine receiver. Right? This isn't, a segment to slight him by any means. He did have a team high 46 catches last year, 588 yards, nothing to sniff at. They also lost Jerron Glover, 15 catches, 192 yards, and 2 touchdowns in 10 games. And then Isaiah Johnson, redshirt freshman that left for the portal, 16 catches, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. You also lost Alante Brown, who, of course, had his injury issues at Michigan State. And then Jalen Smith, he had 1 catch for 16 yards. Now, who'd you keep from last year's team? Well, Nick Marsh. Duh, that goes without saying how big his presence is going to be. But how did they get better? It's with Chrishon McCray and Omari Kelly. 2 really solid transfer portal pickups. Omari Kelly, rated as a 4-star by Rivals, actually, out of Middle Tennessee State. He had a bunch of yards for the Blue Raiders. And then Chrishon McCray, the only bright spot there was for Kent State last year. Okay, north of 900 yards for big play McCray. Now, we will say this. We got to level set expectations for these guys because they're not coming here to be the features of this offense. They're coming here to be veterans. They're coming here to be really nice complement pieces to Nick Marsh, who is the crown jewel of the skill position players on this offense. We actually talked about this not too long ago when talking about the receivers. It's that, yes, McCray, Omari Kelly, both north of 800 yards at their group of 5 schools. Okay? Now, what happens when guys that produce a lot of group of 5 schools go to play somewhere else at a Big Ten school, for example, or an SEC school? Those numbers, at least for last year's, I went to the top 20 transfer portal receivers in last year's class who went group of 5 to Power 5. None of their numbers matched up whatsoever, but I think it's under the understanding, don't expect McCray to go for 900 yards. Don't expect Omari Kelly to go for 800 yards, but to be really solid veteran pieces. So could Omari Kelly replace the 488 yards from Montori Foster, or the 588 yards from Montori Foster, excuse me? Yes, I do. And more importantly, Chrishon McCray, I think, and I've said this 100 times, and I'll say it 500 more times this offseason, he will give this offense something they didn't have last year, and that is a really solid slot receiver, someone that is just molded into that role very nicely. So I think the receiver group got better. Now, this is where that actually not so sure if they've gotten better this offseason. And we're going to go to the running back room right now because they lost Nathan Carter. Okay, they lost Kayron Lynch-Adams. Two guys that I thought were really solid running backs. I thought that, they even with an average offensive line, thought they could have had better seasons. They were really solid at yards after contact. And that's actually, we're going to have the conversation right here because right now I'm pessimistic if running back has gotten better this offseason cycle. And this is no disrespect to Mekhi Frazier, Brandon Tulis. All right, Brandon Tulis, Mekhi Frazier, both these guys, true freshmen last year, both had 7 carries. Neither of those guys had over 3 yards per carry after contact, but we're not going to freak out about that. Again, guys, they had 14 combined carries. True freshmen, we're not going to hammer them for that. What I am curious with is the Eli Tolliver pickup from Sacramento State. And hey, welcome to the fold, young man. Excited to have you here at Michigan State. And maybe this is a bad first, impression of Locked On Spartans if the Tolliver family is listening. But I gotta say, as time goes on, I'm a little interested to see what the staff is thinking here as far as what he will do at Michigan State, because he had 924 yards at Sacramento State. Okay, that's fine. It's all good. What I am worried about, and maybe this is just me just being too hyper focused on one stat, but it is that yards after contact stat. Per carry, he had 2.8 yards per carry after contact. That's not a lot at all. Actually, out of all the FCS running backs, that it was 207th best in the FCS last year, according to Pro Football Focus. He's 6 feet, 210 pounds. He is that bigger bodied running back that you want. The reason I'm so anal about this stat, yards after contact, it's because, wow, our running backs really get contacted early, behind the line of scrimmage more times than not. Now, we're asking the offensive line to step up their game so the running backs can step up theirs. But, yeah, what do I want my running back to have? Well, kind of like what Kayron Lynch-Adams had last year. As he came in from UMass, you knew that he was a pit bull of a running back and can break yards after contact. Saw it here at Michigan State. I got to see a little bit more of it from the 3 guys that we have in the room right now. I got to be honest. Offensive line, this is up for grabs too. Because look, who'd you lose? You lost Luke Newman. You lost Tanner Miller. They're out of eligibility. They were by far your 2 best offensive linemen. Who do you still have? You have Stanton Ramel. Just talked about him on yesterday's show. Okay, it wasn't the greatest year at left tackle for him, but redshirt freshman coming off of a knee injury where he never played as a true freshman, and he has 600 snaps of experience. We're not going to just badger the kid for having a bad first season at such a tough position. All right, so there's still hope for Stanton Ramel. Now, Ashton Lepo also comes back, and we either need one of 2 things. We still either need a right tackle out of the portal, or we need Ashton Lepo to step it up here. I'm sorry to in the holiday season, I'm starting to really just rail on people, but look, have an honest dialogue here. He allowed 31 pressures, according to Pro Football Focus. Okay, that's second most amongst Big Ten tackles. All right, nationally, tied for 14th most pressures allowed at the tackle position. And actually a guy who was tied with for 14th nationally, old friend, Keyshawn Blackstock. That's right, a little blast of the past right there. But on the interior, you have Gavin Brocious, Christian Phillips, both coming back from knee injuries. And then Rakeem Johnson, who got some run as a true freshman, did okay for himself. You also got Caleb Carter, a guy that's played 1 trillion snaps at 1 trillion different positions on the offensive line. Really good depth pickup there. Luka Vincic out of Oregon State played 10 games last year. He did fine. He was going to be the presumed starter for Oregon State if you want to take any stock in that. Or also the crown jewel of the offensive side of the ball, in my opinion. It's either him or McCray, I guess. Depends what day you ask me. But Matt Gulbin out of Wake Forest. Really strong, former Power 4. So it's not like a guy going from Group of 5 school to the Big Ten. No, he played the ACC over at Wake Forest, did really well there, graded out very high, and also had some numbers that matched that too. Only allowed 1 sack per season, did really good at run blocking as well. So I hate to just be so non-definitive, but offensive line will be a have to wait and see. Can Matt Gulbin be as good as Luke Newman? Yeah, I think so. Sure. Can Luka Vincic take the spot of Tanner Miller? Or can Christian Phillips perhaps, take a spot in that interior to step up for that? I hope so. Maybe. They're going to have to for this offense to get better. So overall, optimistic about receiver. Quarterback, tight end, I think, okay, just another year of just experience for those guys, fine. But, man, the running back, I do wonder how it's going to look next year. I do. And a lot of that comes down to the offensive line, and this will not be the only time we talk about it this offseason. But with the portal window closing so recently, I figured, hey, what better time to talk about it than right now. Folks, we will be back here in a hot second. Got to talk your ears off about Rocket Money. That's right, guys. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? Well, no shame. It happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together all in one convenient place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved over $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. So, if you want to save more money in 2025, hey, start at Rocket Money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, out of the mailbag, it's a short but sweet and a very topical question. This one comes from Chuck, who also shouted out that he is part of the class of '88 at Michigan State. So, hey, good on you, Chuck. Let's go. All right. Again, guys, a simple question. The best and worst play of 2024 was blank. Now, of course, we're not just going to answer that simply. We'll break it up. We'll do football first, basketball, and then we will end on a high note because, well, in a year where, hey, football didn't make a bowl game. Great. Basketball was once again one and done in the NCAA tournament. Like, there was a lot of ups and downs here, but we will go with best and worst play for football. Now, not to take away from tomorrow's episode because we talk about best moments at Michigan State. That could be more than just a single play, but let's go real micro right now because football, the best play, I'm going to go back to September, early on in the season. Nick Marsh, 77-yard touchdown against Maryland. Finally looked like the Terps snatched momentum back in that game, but hey, have you heard about Nick Marsh? He's our new shiny toy from River Rouge High School in Detroit. That's him behind all your safeties right now as he just tied the game in one play. And, of course, as we all know it, Jonathan Kim later kicks the game-winning field goal to beat the Terrapins. And, that's when we get optimism. That's when we get optimism for the season. Great times. But, no, it goes even more than just like, hey, a fun play and a fun win. Like, what that play symbolized was, oh, yeah, we got ourselves a player here in Nick Marsh. Like, this isn't just one of your fun, hey, 4-star receiver, hey, yeah, he's going to be pretty good here. No, the kid's pretty great, and immediately. So that it's just, not only did it mean, hey, Michigan State's going to win this game, we got something to smile about, too, in the future as well. Like, thank you. It's about time. Now, if you want an honorable mention for best play for football, it's got, like, not like the greatest memory, but boy, guys, how about Jordan Turner's sack on Cam Fancher near midfield? FAU had the ball late. They were driving, could have won the game. Now, that was at about midfield. It made, the next play, 3rd and 17. But, yeah, that squashed any drive right there. I thought of including this play from the FAU game, too, but it's not real kosher. It's not one to celebrate, but I got to say, like, when Malik Spencer absolutely leveled Cam Fancher early in that game, popped his helmet off, the first of 17 times he popped his helmet off. Again, I'm not celebrating a violent hit to the head, but like that, I think, changed the course of the game. I talked about that a few months ago, too. But just to rehash that, because that was very clearly a concussed quarterback playing for the Florida Atlantic Owls, and he could not find his receivers because, well, he was looking at 3 of them whenever he was trying to zone in on one. So I like that play also changed that game, too. The reason I bring up 2 plays against FAU, imagine just, oh, God, how horrible the vibe would be the entire season if they just dropped that home opener First game under Jonathan Smith. Yes. I cannot wait for the rebirth of this program, only to fall on your face against the Owls. That would have been horrible. So that's why we're mentioning 2 plays from that game. If you have any plays against the Iowa game, sure, yeah, go for it, of course. Why not? But the worst play of the football season for 2024, it's easy. Like it's not even a contest for me. It's the Jaden Child's fumble against Michigan right before halftime. Lost any shred of momentum that you had, and that was no, I don't want to make everyone too sad ahead of New Year. Want to keep the vibes high going into the New Year's Eve, but yeah, that's going away the worst play. So thanks for the question, Chuck. Another great play in that game. Not to bring him up again here, Malik Spencer though, just not knowing that Colston Loveland existed, scored the dagger touchdown there. No, I'm not going to get upset about the season again. No, yeah, I am, because I do have an honorable mention here. The game-ending interception against Boston College. Just not needed. Really had control of that game-winning drive, or what possibly could have been a game-winning drive. Instead, we'll just chuck this ball up in the end zone. And that's really kind of where we had the come-to-Jesus moment of, all right, we got some turnover issues out of this quarterback. We really need to tighten that up. And he did later on in the season. But, yeah, that was a learning moment there. And when you're 1 game short of a bowl, you start to look at the plays like that a little closer. So, yeah, those are the worst plays of the football season. If you have any more, feel free to reach out. LockedOnSpartans@gmail.com. Let's keep the good vibes rolling here. No, okay, we're going to go back up on this roller coaster because basketball, for best play, truly, what Cohen Carr dunk do you want to pick from? And I have actually lost count and have blurred memories of, okay, when did his cool dunks even happen? So any Cohen Carr moment could easily be one, but I got to go with, 2 Malik Hall moments. I know I'm rolling the clock back a little bit here, guys, but again, it wasn't the greatest basketball season, but what was nice is sweeping Michigan. And what was nice after a very hairy game against the Wolverines, where they were going for just anything to smile about at their end of the year banquet, tight game with 6 minutes to go. But hey, guys, Malik Hall throws down the hammer with about 4 minutes to go up 6 points against Michigan. Spartans never looked back. The crowd at Chrysler Center was definitely pro-Michigan State. That was an MSU home game. Came to life after that dunk. So that's probably the best single play for basketball. Or if not that, that's probably this one too, because Michigan State hosting ranked Illinois late January. Tight game. Heck, Michigan State was down for a good amount of that game. Malik Hall and 1 against Illinois. A little over 2 minutes left. Never looked back after that one, too. So that was a much-needed win. I remember talking before that game, hey, not a lot of good quad 1 opportunities the rest of the schedule. And once again, we find ourselves kind of somewhat on the bubble here. You need this one as bad as you ever need a January win. So, hey, they got it there. So thank you, Malik Hall, for that one. Now, the worst play for basketball for 2024. Maybe it's because I was at this game, sitting next to one of my best friends of all time, and then another just absolutely incredible guy, Justin Sind. I was sandwiched between them both, and I wanted to just curl up in a ball and cry in between them both. When Ohio State hits the three-pointer, I've been to my fair share of games at Breslin Center, some very hyped games. I've been to some bad losses. I've never heard Breslin Center as quiet as it was after Ohio State ran down the court, sunk that three-pointer to beat Michigan State, who was 10.5-point favorites in that game. And that's when we started to realize that, okay, maybe the NCAA tournament isn't a guarantee here, because that was their second loss in a row at home as 10-point favorites, also losing to Iowa. So that play specifically, not a great one. Or this wasn't a fun one either, although I did cackle like a hyena when it did happen. And it's when A.J. Hoggard missed that layup against North Carolina. The game was already out of hand, but what just a great send-off to an illustrious career. Just wide open layup. And I don't even know if it hit the rim. It was a tough send-off for our guy A.J. here. I do want to end this on a high note. What a roller coaster of a segment there. What a blast of the past for the last 365 days there. But hey, you know what? Let's go to the hockey rink, because Patrick Geary, his overtime goal against Michigan, the pipe heard round the world to win Michigan State their first Big Ten tournament title. That comes after their first Big Ten regular season title. and really just a defiant moment for Michigan State hockey as a way to say that, oh yeah, under Adam Nightingale, we're back. We're back. All right, guys, we're going to, change studios right now. If you're watching on YouTube, this is going to be a whiplash because we will be somewhere else for this next segment when we talk about this Michigan State Western game. Or if you're listening to the podcast, your life didn't change at all there. So, let's just talk about that basketball game. That's right. If you're watching on YouTube, I've been kidnapped again, and I'm in a laundry room for this last segment. Maybe you can also pick that up on the audio, perhaps a little echoey. We'll be working on that throughout the week. All right, guys. So, Michigan State basketball. That's right. They absolutely curb stomp Western Michigan 80-62, and that's right, Dwayne Stevens. That'll teach you to never come back here and expect to win. I feel so bad for Dwayne Stevens, honestly. That's like an impossible job, isn't it? And it seems like pretty much all mid-major schools have this impossible job. Graham Couch did a fantastic column about, Dwayne Stevens in his third year at Western and just the pitfalls that comes with coaching at a place like Western. He had a great player last year, immediately hops in the transfer portal. Dwayne Stevens said as much in the column that that's pretty much how he has to recruit now these days. Either get kids out of the transfer portal, say that, hey, we could build you even into a better player so you can go to the portal again and get paid. Or, of course, out of high school, hey, we're going to develop you into a strong player, and within 1 or 2 years, you can blossom into a portal player and get paid somewhere else. So I have so much sympathy for Dwayne Stevens. That is a tough job. Now, Michigan State, they won by 18 points, the projected line. Whether it was Bart Torvik or you want to go with a gambling spread, it was 27 points, so Michigan State didn't clear that mark. I'm not going to be up in arms about it. I highly doubt any Michigan State fan will be up in arms about it. But 9-day break between games. You're, of course, going against Dwayne Stevens. It's not like Izzo ever tries to jam it to a coach, but he especially isn't going to do it to one of his former assistants like that. So it was an easy breezy win for the most part. Depends what kind of a fan you are, because if you are a nervous Nelly like me and you have a lot of mental health problems and just get worried at the slightest issue, well, you probably thought it was a little hairy in the second half when it was a 6-point game with about 10 minutes to go, maybe even 8 minutes to go if memory serves correct. But if you are healthy, you understand that, hey, a 6-point lead is good in basketball, especially at home, especially against mid-major. You never thought it was anything to sweat about. Now, let's talk about some players here. And, of course, we got to start with the big guy, Carson Cooper, career high 13 points, did a great job of running the rim in transition. And so 13 points for the career high for Carson Cooper, played fantastic. And one thing that we were going to look at here, this is going back to our preview show, talked a little bit about Western. And one thing they did really well going into this game was rebounding the basketball. Okay, Western Michigan was top 40 nationally in defense and offensive rebounding percentages. Okay, Michigan State near the top 20. They're 21st in offensive rebounding going into this game and 4th in defensive rebounding, an elite rebounding team. But with that said, Michigan State, it was actually quite some time since they've played another really good rebounding team. All the way since Colorado was the last time an MSU opponent came into the game as a top 100 rebounding team in the country. So, yes, think of all the games between that, your Memphises, your North Carolinas, your Florida Atlantics, the 2 Big Ten games. None of those teams were, good at rebounding. So this was a really good test. Michigan State passed that test with 37 rebounds, Western Michigan 30. So that's good to see as they go into Big Ten play. Not like I ever thought that the rebounding numbers were fraudulent, but I just wanted to see it against another good rebounding team before we set sail into the rest of the conference season. About that, Carson Cooper, 6 rebounds. He did not lead the team, though. That was, of course, Jamon Sapala. I hope I'm getting closer and closer to saying his name correctly, but those are the 2 top dogs in the rebounding department. And you know what? I got to give a nod to Jaden Akins, because what's one thing that we've known about Jaden Akins coming into this year is that, he can be exciting. Like, he's had some great games as a Michigan State Spartan. He's going to have an increased role, of course, with Tyson Walker gone. But one thing we also kind of knew about his game is that it is it's up and down, guys. I gotta say, though, let's recognize this, because Jaden Akins, he's actually been pretty consistent lately. I want to knock on wood. I got to find wood somewhere in this laundry room. Perhaps this... No, that's not even real wood behind me. Okay, anyway, you get what I'm trying to say is that he's been doing pretty good lately. Okay, this is the 4th game in a row in double-digit points. That is the 6th time in the last 7 games he has been in double digits. He hasn't been timid because we've also seen that with Jaden Akins too in years past. But he's taken that alpha role. He's getting up double-digit shots per game, and he's also making it count too. Like we said, guys, that is double-digit points for Jaden Akins in 4 straight games. So anything else you can take out of that game, by all means, let us know. LockedOnSpartans@gmail.com or comment below on YouTube. That was the biggest margin of a pregame spread that Michigan State has had so far this season. That was supposed to be their most dominant win. It wasn't, but I don't care. It's beating the rust off after 9 days, and I'm just glad this team doesn't have another extraordinarily long break because I could use more Michigan State basketball in my life. This is a fun team. I smile when I watch Michigan State. Also, really quick, guys, I did want to give a nod to the hockey team for the first time. Since 2009, they have done it. They have won the Great Lakes Invitational. They won opening night, Sunday. Northern Michigan beat them 2-0. And then, yes, Western Michigan, number 4 ranked Western Michigan, we should say, beat them 3-1. So there you have it, guys. Really strong goaltending by Luka DePasco. He was named the GLI MVP. 29 saves in that win against Western Michigan. Trey Augustine, they gave him the 2 days off, so sent him on vacation. I'm kidding. He's at World Juniors right now, so that is why the backup goaltender, who still shined, letting up just 1 goal over 2 games, DePasco, gets the MVP. So not bad for Michigan State. And really quick, I do want to end this on some college football playoff picks. That's right. We went 58% on the season in 5 best bets. So I got 4 for you guys right here. Now, this could be a fool's errand here. I'm doing it, though. And yeah, I'm swayed by the uniforms. That's how I'll just say why I'm going to pick them. Boise State, plus 11.5 against Penn State. I do like how Boise State played against Oregon. And yes, I know that seems like 17 years ago at this point. But I think Gentry's obviously the real deal. You'd be an idiot if you thought otherwise. But so I'm going to go Boise State plus 11.5 in the Fiesta Bowl on Tuesday night. Now, tomorrow, I really don't want to pick the Arizona State-Texas game, but I will just because, hey, what else am I going to do? Not give a comment on it? We're going to go with Arizona State, actually. That's right, the Fighting Sam Levitts. I don't think they win by any means, but I can see them losing by like 10, for example, and that would cover the 12.5 number that it's at right now. Now, for the 2 premier games going on this weekend, I do like Ohio State. And I like them a lot, minus 2.5 against Oregon. So many things had to go well for Oregon at home the last time these 2 teams met. So I'm going to go with Ohio State here. I thought that their college football playoff path would be one of 2 things. One, they would just fizzle out immediately, either lose to Tennessee or look really bad doing it because of the mental scars that they have from that Michigan game. Okay, that could fracture a team, or it could iron forge them. Looks like they're iron forged. I think that this is going to be a strong Buckeye team moving forward here. And then for the nightcap, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I'm going to fall in love with the Golden Helmets. I do like Riley Leonard a lot, and I don't have a lot of faith in Gunnar Stockton over there at Georgia. I hope his brain still isn't scrambled eggs from that hit he took against Texas in the SEC championship game, but that is where I'm at right now. We're going to go Fighting Irish plus 1.5. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Have a great New Year. We will have another show tomorrow recapping everything that happened in 2024. But until then, hey, love you all, guys. Go Green.